Well, you're very good over there because you all talk about vacuum chucks. I don't have one, and I haven't got the type of lathe that would take one.
Well, I have one. I don't use it very often because if I'm teaching other people that don't have them, if I'm making a project, I try and figure out how to do it without one, so that you can show somebody that there's any number of ways to hold a piece of wood on the lathe. You just the main thing is to make sure it's secure enough so that you don't have UFOs.
Yeah, safety has to come in first every time.
Absolutely, yeah. And a UFO there is an uncontrolled flying object, not unidentified. You know what it is. It's just uncontrolled.
Yes, it's. I've had some good times.
Yeah.
One of the. Can you see me all right? If you can get something.
You know, you're talking about chucking. I use cold chucks a lot because I don't make.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the candy twist and on the clock. Just finished it, ready to go for the demonstration next month.
Cold chuck.
Way you see the candy twist better.
Lovely. Yeah. On the cold chucks, I thought, well, maybe I'll get, what do you call them, Longworths, because then I don't have to constantly be screwing them, the little things in and out. But you know the problem with them? I use sometimes deep, tall rubber stoppers. You're limited to one size on a Longworth, right?
Well, you aren't, but it's a little bit more tricky to get them set because it's just more work. But I use the cold jaws, and I have the same. I have a set of double jaws, and I even went so far as bought a second set, and then I went and bought an extra longer set of bolts for the once or twice where I have a weird shaped rim that doesn't want to pull in, it wants to pull out. And you just cut your speed down, right? But it gives you the ability to hold what I really like about the cold jaws is you can hold an oblong object by moving a couple of the bolts around, little fiddling around to get it centered and all of that, granted, but it's possible. And then it's got the slots in it. And the slots are the ones that, you can put two in the circle, which goes in and out easy. And then once it's in, you figure out where the slot is and put the bolt in the slot. And now you've got that little extra unusual shaped ability. And again, it's like you said, like it's just safety first. You figure out a way to hold it and then cut your speed down, and it's not a vacuum chuck. People can do it without vacuum.
Yeah.
If you have a piece that is twisted or dried and started to twist, and you don't want to turn it round, you can mess with the cold chuck to make it. I have different rubber stoppers and stuff I use to stick them in there. I sometimes, there's got to be a better way. And then one time I thought it was going to be smart. And so I had a row of stoppers or whatever you call them around, and I put a smaller piece in the inside. Well, when that left loose, unfortunately it left loose, it caught the outer ring and deflected it right in my face. And I forgot to drop my shield. I got whammed royally in the jaw. I thought I lost a bunch of teeth. Well, fortunately I didn't. But I learned now, I go, don't be lazy, Jim. Use only the ones you want, or make sure they're real small ones on the outside so they don't catch it.
Yeah.
Where do you get the really long screw ones?
I bought them from, here in Edmonton, I bought them from a place called Fastenal. And so you just have to have the metric, it's a metric size and then the metric length. And the only problem is they come in a box of 50. Well, okay, so it cost me $20 or something. I only needed 8 or 10, but okay, I got a box of 50. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But go to a bolt supply shop, not a hardware store. Go to an industrial bolt supply shop. You pay a little bit more. They come in a box of 50, but at least then you got them.
Yes, we have Fastenal here in the States too.
Yeah, well, I think Fastenal is a U.S. based organization, but
I'm wanting some new ones. I have two cold chucks, a smaller one and a bigger one.
Yeah.
So I can save some time changing around. And I'm starting to see that I'm about in the same diameters generally, but still you have to screw them out and screw them in, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's still the way to go. I'm not into, what do you call them, jam chucks? I'm not into turning another chunk of wood.
Jam
What
chuck.
I've done for jam chucks is I've got a set of flat jaws mounted on a stronghold chuck, and I screw some wood to it. And the beauty of it is that it'll move in and out. So it's like cold jaws only made out of wood. And if I've got some bowls that are, you know, within a 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch of the same diameter, well, that doesn't really matter. I just stick it in there and close the jaws on it. So if it's perfect circle, it touches all the way around. But if it's not, it only touches in 4 places. But that's okay because I'm going slow anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list, Bert. That and a
Flat
video.
jaws. Yeah, flat jaws are great.
Wooden jaws.
Yeah. I use them for scoops.
I've come to really like jam chucks. Angelo got me to pay attention to jam chucks. You can do anything with a jam chuck.
Oh, I use jam chucks all the time for all small projects. They're great.
Well, they're easy to make because if you're making small things and they're drilled with the same drill bit, it's real easy. One fits all. But the beauty of it, like you say, Mike, is if you have something that's a little bit odd, it only takes a few minutes to make something to match, and then you're on. And if it's a one-off, it doesn't take long. It's part of the enjoyment.
Yeah, and I know they say then you get more chisel time. I got enough chisel time. Just cutting the regular stuff and fixing the mistakes.
It's just another tool in your toolbox.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mike.
I've got a whole bunch of tools, and I only use probably 8 or 10 of them all the time. But every time I need that special one, I know I can use it, and I've got it somewhere. I just have to knock the dust off it.
Yeah, it's like anything else. The more you do it, the faster and quicker it gets. And if you're into box making, I think that's the real driver. If you make boxes, that is such an integral part of making a box. I don't see how you can make a box. It'd be difficult to make several boxes without knowing how to use a jam chuck.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys have changed a couple of my patterns of working, and maybe I'm going to end up being a jam chuck guy, but I don't know. You know, what are these? They call them soft jaws. What's the deal with that stuff? I've been looking at Nova's soft jaws. What is that?
I did an article for American Woodturner, and I messed with those things. I don't like them.
Okay.
I don't know. I would rather use wood. I think the nylon. I don't think seems for me. I had a very difficult time cutting it cleanly.
Okay.
Even using a very sharp scraper. Now I did not use a carbide scraper. That might have made it easier, but I don't use carbide much.
I've used those once. I bought a set for my Vicmark chuck just because I was buying it. I thought I'd buy them thinking I'd use it, and I've used them once, and I found out that it's so much easier to use wood.
Yeah, the nylon ones are expensive, and once you turn it, unless you're doing production turning of the same type of item with roughly the same diameter, you're either going to have to go back in and modify them, which renders it useless for a smaller item. Wood is just, I think, more versatile and accomplishes the same thing. In effect, you still got a set of soft jaws as long as you're using, relatively soft wood.
Plus, we got lots of wood.
Hey, Jim, those get used a lot in ornamental turning with what they call fixed tool work. But that's something that the cutting takes sometimes a day to finish, one set of cuts.
Okay. Hey, and
I stole one of your ideas, Mike, where I needed to use my wooden jaws that I'd already made too big. So I just cut another block, glued it into the wooden jaws, and then refaced it and used it, and then cut that other piece out when I was done with it. I mean,
there you go. Just like reusing a glue block.
Exactly. Just like reusing a glue block.
A threaded glue block where you have some investment in it already. You don't want to waste that initial investment.
Yeah.
The other day I was cutting, I had something on a glue block and there was a big chunk that was going to rattle the chisel around. So I got the saw out and was cutting it. Next thing I had twisted the glue block off of the object. So I
Well,
said,
that
well, good luck for that. So
Depends on, a lot of that depends on your glue
yeah.
and how level the surface is.
Yeah. Sometime I would like to have a conversation.
Wood shop. Thank God for wood.